Welcome to an overview of the reading room access functionality in Folio. This feature streamlines the management of Patron access to various reading rooms and allows libraries to create reading room lists with default access for patrons, change default access in user profiles, verify patron details and access permissions when they arrived at the reading room, and register in the action log whether a patron was admitted or denied access to the reading room. To use reading room access functionality, you first need to create reading room list in the setting application. You need to navigate to Tenants, Reading Room Access, and here by clicking on Add New button, you can create a reading room. For creation reading room, you need to define reading room name, choose public option if needed. If this option is selected, the room will be allowed for all patrons and staff users by default. And you need to associate reading room with one or more service points. And I'm going to add another room that wouldn't be public for demo purpose and assign this room to the CircDesk 2. Now let's navigate to the user application. Also for demo purposes, I created two patrons. And in the profile of Patron 1, you can see reading room access section, and this section contains newly created reading rooms with the default access. This section is only visible for user with Patron or staff user type. You can see that my user has Patron user type. For another user, I didn't define any user type, and reading room access section is not visible here. Let me change it. So I'm changing user type, and now you can see reading room access in the user profile. As user with appropriate permissions, I can change patrons access to the reading room directly in the user profile. For this, I need to open user record in edit mode, open reading room access section, and change status of the room, add note if needed, and save changes. Now in the reading room access section, I can see updated status of the access, my node, and date when the record was updated, and the username of the person who made this change. Now let's move to the reading room access application. You can find it in the application list. Here it is. I want to bring to your attention that for any staff user who can log in into Folio, should be assigned a default service point. You can see the default service point here. And on the page, you can see the reading room that assigned it to this service point. Now I need to enter barcode or use patron lookup to find the patron. And when patron is found, I can see patron details such as username, barcode, expiration date, and status for the access. I can allow access or deny access clicking on the respective buttons, and this action will be logged in the action log. So let me choose Patron 2 and deny access. Now I'm going to switch to another reading room, which is assigned to CircDesk 2, and this is Rare Book and Special Collections. When I enter Patron 1, I can see that access is allowed, and can see my node which I added to this patron. And for patron 2, I will see that access is not allowed, so I can only deny access for this person. And in conclusion, for my demonstration, I want to say a couple of words about permissions that is needed for using reading room access functionality. So let me open permissions. To be able to create default list of reading rooms, user should be assigned this setting tenant can create, edit, and remove reading room access permission. Just for viewing, we have another permission, can view reading room access. For being able to make changes in user profile related to reading room access, user should have this permission, can view and edit reading room access, or respectively just for viewing can be used this permission, can view reading room access. And for application itself, user should be assigned reading room access in-app track access permission. This concludes the overview of the reading room access functionality. Thank you. Welcome to an overview of the functionality for preventing duplicate printing of PIC slips. This functionality is designed to store printing details for page requests and allows users to track whether a PIC slip for request has been printed, how many times, who last printed it, and when the last printing occurred. On the screen, you can see the request application. By default, printing details are not available there. The printing log functionality can be activated in Settings. To do this, you need to open Settings, Circulation, View Print Details, and enable the setting. For being able to see and update this setting, user must have appropriate permission. This is Setting Circulation, can enable request print details. When the configuration setting is enabled, users can see and add into request table 2 additional columns, number of copies and printed. Copies displays how many times PIC slip has been printed, and printed column displays the username and date time of the most recent printing. Additionally, in the search and filter pane will be displayed print status filter. PIC slips for page requests can be printed in 3 different ways. Users can generate PIC slip reports, print slips for selected requests, or print a single slip for particular request. An important note here that print slips can be printed only for those items whose effective location is associated with the selected service point. So in my requests, you can see that only one request is not available for printing, and this because this item currently is not available for the service point CircDesk1. To generate PIC slip reports, user needs to click Action and select Print PIC slips for service point action. Print dialog appears, and the time when print dialog is opened will be stored as printing date time in the printing log. Whether the user click on print or cancel, the system consider the opening of the print dialog as a print action. So you can see that when printing dialog closed, printing details are updated. Copies value increased, and in printed column displays current username and date time of printing. If user wants to print some requests, they need to select them, and then in Action menu, choose another option, Print Selected PIC slips for service point. And the same printing dialog will be opened, and after closing, printing details will be updated. To print peak slip for specific request, user needs to click on the print button in the single print column, and again, printing details will be updated. And a couple of words about print status filter. There are two options are available for filtering request by printed status. When printed option is selected, only request with the print details will be displayed, and vice versa. If not printed option is selected, the request without print details will be shown. This concludes the overview of the functionality for preventing duplicate printing of peak slips. Thank you.
Hello, this is Amelia Sutton, the product owner for the Users app, and today I will be giving a demo of the profile pictures functionality that Volaris team has been working on for the last 2 releases. First, I'll be starting with showing how to enable the profile pictures functionality on your tenant. To do so, you'll need to make a couple of API requests. The first one will be to the user's configurations entry endpoint, and that will be a GET request to get our current configuration. Next, I'll be making a PUT request to the specific endpoint for this configuration, and I'm going to be making one change to this and setting the enabled to be true to enable the functionality. So I'll send this, and we get a successful message, and when I reload the page, you can see a placeholder image is shown for a profile picture on this user. Next, I want to talk about the 2 permission sets that are added in this functionality. First, I want to show what this looks like when you don't have any of the profile pictures related permissions. So we'll go back to our test user, this time logged in as a user who can view and edit user records and can view their own permissions, but who can't view profile pictures. And so as you can see, there's no placeholder here. And on the edit screen, there is also no profile picture placeholder. So to demo the first permission set, I'll be logging in as another user here, test2. And this user has those same edit and view permissions, but they also have can view profile pictures. This permission allows the user to see both the profile picture on the user record view screen, as well as the profile picture on the edit screen. For this user, there is no profile picture, so placeholder is shown. Note that you can't edit the profile picture with this permission, even though you have edit permissions for the user record. To make changes to a user's profile pictures, you'll need our second permission set, which I have on this third test user. This user has the users can view, edit, and delete profile pictures permission. This permission includes the user record view and user record edit permissions as subpermissions, and so I haven't included those here. For this user, I again can see the placeholder icon on the record, and when I open the record to edit, I have the placeholder again, but now I have an update dropdown here. When I select this, I am presented with 2 options, local file and external URL. For the purposes of this demo, I'm only going to be covering the upload of a local file, as the external URL functionality was a community requirement that the Library of Congress did not need. So for uploading a local file, I select the option and choose a file from my computer. Once I upload that, I'm presented with this preview and edit screen, where I can zoom in on the image, rotate it, and change the framing and move it around. So I'm going to then save it, and you can see the preview with the profile picture on the record. At this point, the picture is not saved to the record, and if I select cancel, this will not be stored. Once I select save and closed, however, the picture is tied to the user record and saved. And now I can see it here. Next, I'm going to show how to delete a profile picture. It's very similar to the upload. You go to the update dropdown and select delete. Here, you'll be presented with a confirmation pop-up that makes sure that you want to delete the profile picture. And once I select yes, we'll return to seeing the placeholder icon over here. As with uploading a profile picture, if I hit cancel at this point in the process, the picture will not be deleted. So let's demonstrate that now. And you can see I still have the image. However, if I select delete, select yes, and then save and close, the image is removed. Next, I want to talk about the second option for configuration, the file size limit. So if we go back to our configuration here, you can see we have a max file size of 4. And this is in megabytes, so our max file that we can upload would be 4 megabytes. I have a demo file here that is, I believe, 4.18 megabytes. And so if I try to upload this, I'll receive this error that indicates that the file is too large. Now, if I wanted to allow larger images to be uploaded, I can change this the same way that I enabled the functionality by making a put request to this configuration endpoint. All right, and now that we have a success message, I'll reload the page to accept those changes, or rather to show those changes, and we can upload our large file. And we can do the same, zoom, rotate, etc., and save and close. All right, so that covers the functionality that's included in the Quesnalio release. Next, I'm going to be showing the functionality that's been worked on for the Ramsons release, which includes the display of profile pictures in the checkout app. So first, as I did before, I'm going to log into Folio with my test user. And in this case, our test user has permissions for checkout, but does not have any profile picture permissions. So if I go to the checkout app and I look up a patron, I don't see any profile picture or placeholder here. Now I will log into my final test user here. And as you can see, this user has both the checkout permissions and the profile picture view permissions. And that's again reflected here where you can see the placeholder icon. If I return to the checkout app now and look up this patron, I can see this profile picture that I have uploaded earlier on. So when I view a patron who has a proxy, or who is a proxy for a sponsor of theirs, when I look them up, I'm presented with this pop-up. This is existing Folio functionality. And if I select that this user is acting as a proxy for another borrower, then it will show the borrower who is the sponsor, and then the borrower's proxy will be shown below. And as you can see, the borrower who we looked up before has a profile picture, and so that displays. And the proxy who does not have a profile picture shows that placeholder image here. That concludes the demonstration of the profile pictures functionality. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amelia Sutton, and today I will be giving a demonstration of the user data export for library card printing functionality coming in the Ramsons release. This functionality allows a user to print or to export user data required by Print Studio software for printing library cards. In order to export this user data, 4 things must be true. First, the profile pictures functionality must be enabled on your tenant. As you can see, the profile pictures functionality is currently disabled, and so there is no profile picture displayed here. If I, via the API, enable this functionality and reload the page, you can see the profile picture appears, and in the Actions menu, you can see a Print Library Card option. The second thing that must be true of the user is that user must be either of the staff or patron user type. So as you can see, we have the staff user type. The option is available. And if we remove that user type, the option is disabled. Similarly, if we have patron user type, you can see that the option is re-enabled. The third thing that is required is the user must be set to the active status. So that is true currently, and the option is enabled. And when I deactivate the user, you can see that the option is once again disabled. I will reactivate that now. And again, you can see the functionality is available once again. The final requirement is that the user have a profile picture attached. So as you can see, this user has a profile picture, but when I go in and delete that picture from their record and save, the Print Library Card option is disabled. If I go back and add a profile picture back to the record, the option is re-enabled. Next, I want to talk about the two ways that this export functions differently, depending on how a user's profile picture was added. In this case, as you saw, this user has a locally uploaded profile picture. So, when I export their user record, the profile picture will export in a separate file from the rest of the user data. So I select that option. In the confirmation, you can see it was exported in a separate file. And you can see these two files that were downloaded. One with the user's data, and a second with their profile picture. Next, we will look at how this functions for a user with an externally linked profile picture. So I will add my profile picture here and save. And you can see the option is still available. And when I select it, instead, we'll see a single file downloaded with the profile picture's URL included in that file. And as you can see, the confirmation message states that the URL is included in the exported file. And when you open it, you can see that URL there. This concludes the demo on user data export for library card printing. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Hello, this is an overview of the due date staff slip feature introduced by Volaris team in the Ramsons release. The due date receipt is a new type of staff slips that allows printing details for open loans such as due date, borrower information, and item details. To use this staff slip, the template for it must be first configured. For this, user needs to have appropriate permissions, such as regular permission for editing staff slips. Settings can create, edit, and remove staff slips. User with this permission can open settings, circulation, staff slips, due date receipt, edit mode, and template editor. Here, user can select tokens relevant to the due date slip such as tokens from the borrower section, due date, and the needed item tokens. The printing of this slip is available from the checkout application or the user profile. I'll start with the checkout. Here I need to open loan. The loan is created, and here in action menu, I need to click on loan details, and on this screen at the top you can see print due date receipt action. Clicking on this will generate due date receipt according to the predefined template. From the checkout, user can print one slip per item. Batch printing is available from the user profile. For this, I need to open user profile, loans, open loans. Here I can select all loans or some of them, and at the top I have the same action, print due date receipt. But in this case, generated PDF will include all selected loans. A single print for the due date receipt also is available here. For this, I need to select action menu, print due date receipt for selected loan. That's conclude the overview of the feature. Thank you.